What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Initial Focus video. And today is the long-awaited episode 2 of In Your Opinion. And we have two video competitors here with me. One is not so far away in my room of Christian. That sounds creepy. Christian on the left or right. I haven't decided where he's going to be going yet, in the Hawaiian shirt.
Hey there.
He is going to be battling it out for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation in general. And then to the other side, you guys know very well, Greg from Greggles TV is going to be on the side of Xbox and Microsoft and all things lovely and green. And so today is going to be a little differently because both of these guys are very knowledgeable and appreciate both platforms very much. They realize that there are 100 things, good and bad, about both platforms. So while they have picked their respective sides, I'm sure they will be talking, agreeing on a lot of things, but hopefully we'll get a couple tussles here and throw a couple right hooks and jabs. But yeah, so the way this is going to go, if this is your first time watching In Your Opinion video, since this is only the second one, we're going to have 1 minute intros for each side, and we will let Christian, the new guy to this YouTube channel, go first. So we'll start with Christian with a 1 minute intro. We'll then go to Greg with a 1 minute. Both of them will have 30 seconds to rebuttal, agree, disagree, come up with different points to kind of counter each other after that. And then we will have two questions that we will go back and forth on, and they'll have a chance to rebuttal that. And then we'll have a closing up to 1 minute as well, and that will be the show. So it's going to be a good time. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Christian, this will be your first intro, so whatever you want to talk about for 1 minute, hopefully it's PlayStation related. I will start... I will start the timer.
Definitely not.
I will start the timer right about now. Go ahead.
Awesome. So as we know, PlayStation 4, since the unveiling of the current gen consoles now, has been in the lead. Console sales have indicated that without any issue, Sony has been always one step ahead of Microsoft. So with that, their focus on games, just games for gamers, has been a really huge way for them to sell consoles, and it's working out very well. They've got a huge exclusive lineup that is varied enough that it reaches so many different players that own the consoles before them. So unlike last generation, really taking the lead here, I personally just think overall PlayStation 4 is technically a faster, better console that's in a more slim package. People are able to take those wherever they want to go and play the best games.
And time. Very nicely said. All right, and Greg, go ahead with your first minute intro for Xbox right about now.
All right, so I definitely agree with Christian on a lot of those points in terms of it being faster, cheaper out of the gate, and selling tons more consoles. But I think that Xbox has done a great job with updating their software. The UI for the software internally has been much better. Also, I think that the Xbox One S, which is coming out very, very soon, is a completely new rehaul of the system, and it made differences in that system versus the last one in all major areas. You can do 4K video. The power brick is built inside. It's smaller. It looks better, and I think that the direction they're going in, especially going into 4K as well, is going to make it so that the exclusive games and the games that they both have against PS4 are going to make it an equal console, if not better.
Cool. All right, and then Christian, you will have 30 seconds first to rebuttal, add, subtract, all that good stuff. Go ahead now.
Sure, I would totally agree with that. Xbox has done a good job about iterating upon what it has had already. The UI is definitely a much better state, but I think it's still in an equal state at where PS4 has always been. That's the thing. Microsoft is still playing catch up to a lot of things there. And with the Scorpio coming out, it's rumored to be even more powerful than the new Sony console, the Neo, that's been rumored. So I think they're going back to the drawing board, and we'll see what happens there.
Wait, didn't he? I don't know if he went against anything I said. But I think I get a 30-second rebuttal. So
That you do.
I think that it's right. You know, the Xbox is taking over with their new 4K console. It has 6 teraflops versus 4. Every game they said is going to be in 4K, 60 frames a second. And PlayStation, they haven't said that, and I don't think PlayStations will be able to do that. I think they're going to be more 4K 30 frames a second, if that at best. I think that extra 2 teraflops is going to put the Xbox over the past that 60 frame per second landmark versus
And
what
30.
PS4 can do.
Boom. That's good. All right, and moving on to our very first question here.
Who's this from?
This is for both of you.
So I meant like, is it from
the
a
audience?
fan? I was just joking.
Yeah, so, 100 people are calling in right now. All right.
Phone a friend.
So when they are released next year, I believe, the Scorpio for Xbox and the Neo for PlayStation, which do you think will be a better release? You've started talking about it a little bit, but why do you think people may choose to buy one over the other? Christian, go ahead if you want to go first.
Sure. I think we don't know a lot yet. That's the thing. And Microsoft has only really teased their project name. We don't even know the real name of the new Xbox. We know a little bit about it, but we don't know much about Sony's at all. They did confirm its existence, but if they were smart, they're going back to the drawing board. They're going to take a look at it and see, how can we make this more powerful and more competitive? We're on the back foot now. We need to get the lead again and in front of Microsoft. So that's really just it. And I think we have a lot to learn from Sony, and still yet with the new Neo and what it can do, and what it's going to do with their VR system as well. That's huge, especially going forward into just making these games run better, for a console that's a lot more powerful. So it's really interesting. I think also the development side of things is important. Developers need to get this in their hands as soon as possible to be able to work with current games that is already on the console and available, and future games that they're creating. They work well with this console, and it's not a huge disparity between the owners of the previous kind of half-gen consoles and the new ones that are yet to come out.
Okay, awesome. All right, and go ahead, Greg, with your answer.
Yeah, I think that the Xbox PS4 4K systems, the big difference, I think, is they're both going to be similar, but obviously the Xbox so far is number-wise is going to be more powerful. Xbox also is now doing this thing where when you buy the game on Xbox, you get it for free on PC, which is huge, because PC gaming, some years ago, people thought it was dead. I feel like it's growing bigger. And if the Scorpio, once it comes out, they're going to be using a VR head system from Oculus, so we don't have to worry about that versus what PS4 is going to have. And also, PS4's VR head system, I think, can only do 1080p at 60 frames and 90 frames per second, I think, at the most, which isn't even 4K. So hopefully when Xbox comes out, it'll be 4K and it'll actually be better than what PS4 has. Both systems, I don't think they're going to be able to increase the quality of the PS4 and Xbox One games that are out for the new 4K systems. The game has to specifically take on that new hardware. So I don't think we'll see a lot of differences in backwards compatibility in terms of improvement for the games. But ultimately, I'm more excited about Xbox's way they're going, because they learned from their mistakes in terms of getting beat out of the gate using their Kinect rather than putting more money into the system itself. And they just learned from the mistakes. This is a gaming machine, and that's all it really does. Obviously, you can do Netflix and all that stuff, but it's a gaming machine.
Awesome. All right, and then I think we'll just go ahead and jump right into the next question here. What big titles are coming out later this year or in the foreseeable future? And do you believe your platform will have better and more titles coming out to draw people in? So, Christian, if you would like to go first again, go right ahead. You have we'll do a minute and a half for most of these.
Okay, sure. So, as many have probably seen from E3, Sony's press conference, regarded by a lot, was one of the best there. The great thing about Sony, and Sony is always really been at the forefront of exclusive games. Exclusive games, though, that aren't always just established IPs, that are new IPs. That's one thing with Microsoft that still, with this year, we're seeing a lot of new exclusive games coming up in the future that are just existing IPs. Halo Wars 2, Forza Horizon 3, Gears of War 4. Those are all going to be probably great games, and varied, but nothing new like Detroit. Nothing new like really Horizon Zero Dawn that's coming out next year. We got Last Guardian, which is anticipated for the last 5-7 years. A lot of great new games that aren't just sequels or prequels. We've got a lot in the future to look forward to, and I think it's going to be a very strong year. And who doesn't want a Spider-Man game? Like, buy it in some. Like, I think everybody wants to play that, especially Insomniac. So,
awesome, perfect. And then Greg, with your answer, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with him in terms of Xbox not having a ton of new games that are new IPs. A lot of it is rehash games like Dead Rising 4 and Forza, Gears of War 4. But one of the coolest games that I saw at E3, because I did go to that, was Sea of Thieves, which is a multiplayer. Almost, and Rare makes it, and Rare is known for Banjo-Kazooie, some of the cool Nintendo games from the past. And Sea of Thieves is a really cool game. You're basically on a ship, and I think you can do this on land. You actually have to work with other people, and you're playing online, and you get the chance to, when you're on a ship, someone steers it, somebody shoots the cannon, somebody has to raise the sails. It's a really cool interactive game. You don't see that a lot in terms of having to do teamwork in a multiplayer game rather than just shooting or killing something. So I really like that. Also, a lot of indie titles are coming out for the Xbox One as well. I think is it Recore? I forget what game it was. It's the same. I can't remember the name of the game right now.
That's
but
correct. Yeah,
Recore. Yeah, the guys that are making Recore, is that the guys that made? There's a game coming out that I can't think of it, but I'm going bad right now. But anyways, they have some cool indie titles coming out, and it just seems like it'll be a good year for indie titles, and obviously remade games, because behind the remade games, people like those games already. Whereas with new IP games, they don't have any history, and they might turn out to be duds.
Yeah. And by the way, this broadcast is not sponsored by Sea of Thieves.
But we wish it was.
It does look good.
Yeah, I wish it was.
I'm hoping that it's implemented and works well. I think that is a game that can bring people together and you make new friends with, and have a cool online experience with. So we'll see.
Think of a game that did something like that? I can't. Like where you had to actually work together? Not shooting or like trying to take down a monster, actually working together to accomplish something?
Sure. Yeah. I think like it kind of reminds me of Ark, which is very recent still. And you still are kind of shooting, and I mean almost every game has kind of those PvE or even PvP elements there. But yeah, Ark seems very much where you're working together to accomplish, kind of building this base but it's always kind of to protect yourself from wildlife or others, and that's kind of how Sea of Thieves is like. But with Sea of Thieves, like it's very heavily into like you have to have your shipmates with you, while you cool. Or you can't take a ship out with one person. Nobody can.
I love that.
So that's awesome.
Kind of adding that realism to a very playful world. It's pretty cool.
All right.
See how.
All right. So I'm actually going to throw you a little curveball final question here. Little last. So this will be the last question here.
I'm nervous now. Come on, man.
No, it's okay. So besides games, what do both your platforms offer in terms of home entertainment, media sharing, things like that you think make it a more attractive purchase for someone like me, a casual gamer, but mostly people, instead of buying an Apple TV or like a Roku or something, like what in terms of anything besides games do your platforms offer?
Can I go first?
Sure. Greg, we'll
Change
switch
it up. Is that okay?
Change it up. Go ahead. You
right.
got
yeah.
a minute 30.
They're both basically exactly the same what they offer in terms of I think PS4 has Plex, and I know Xbox does, and Netflix and Hulu and all these other ESPN, all these apps that both of them have. They both have web browsers. The big difference, again, I'm going to go to the future a little bit. This August, which I think that's when the Xbox One S comes out, right? August.
Yeah.
It's 4K, and PlayStation cannot do that. Xbox One S will be able to play 4K video. Netflix, whoever else knows what apps that will support 4K, but it will be able to do 4K. And people that have 4K TV sets, especially with them being so cheap now at $500-600, you can get in the game now with one. Why not get an Xbox One S and be able to play that 4K content? Both of them you can plug in external drives. Both of them you can play games from the PC to your PC and stream the games that way. Again, the big difference, 4K video, Xbox One S, and obviously in the future, the Neo will be able to do that, and also the Xbox Scorpio will be able to do that as well. So there you go.
Awesome. Perfect. And then you guys will both have 1 minute to say any final closing things. Again.
Oh, wait, he didn't get to go. Did he get a rebuttal?
Oh, you didn't
I guess. I'm
sorry.
Rebuttal.
You're right.
Like, we can't even get to the rebuttals if I don't say anything.
Nope.
It's
You lose. There's no way you can beat that.
Go ahead, Christian. Sorry.
No, I mean, it kind of is that kind of same thing where it's like they are pretty much the same outside of maybe, fringe apps that are maybe just on one console or another. You're probably going to see the same sort of apps on both, whether it is entertainment apps or even news-related apps like maybe NPR, IGN, things like that. I think the biggest difference, like going forward, if 4K is a huge thing, but we also need more 4K content. So I don't know how relevant that is as far as just watching movies. But for games in the future, it is. For PlayStation, though, that one awesome thing about it, if it is available in your area, there is something called PlayStation Vue, the VUE, if you're interested. This is kind of PlayStation's like TV service where you can kind of subscribe and get certain channels, like watching TV through your dish, but just on your PlayStation. So that can be very nice. Also, I think VR coming in the future, like it is very focused on games, and it's not going to be for your just average PlayStation 4 owner. But VR can also give you very cool and interesting entertainment values as well to that hardware. Watching Netflix just yourself with your VR headset on is a really amazing experience. And I tried it with a $99 Samsung VR headset. Like I can't imagine, how much better it's going to be. Different things like that. If it's supported, it's going to be really amazing.
Cool.
Good points, man.
Right on the nose of.
Forgot about those. Those are good points.
So we'll go ahead and actually, since we've gone a little bit over the original time, let's go ahead and do 30 seconds final closing, any last minute thoughts, things like that. So Greg, let's go ahead and have you go first again, and go ahead.
Both consoles are basically the same. They have a few different exclusives. PS4s can run 1080p. Almost every game Xbox can't. But I think when it comes down to it, with Xbox, you're looking for the future, especially with 4K content. If you're going to get a console and you haven't gotten it yet, definitely get an Xbox Scorpio. There's no doubt about it.
Cool. And Christian, your final 30?
Yeah, it is now down to $2.99, so that's really nice too. But overall, I think PlayStation has all been focused on games since the start. And if you want to play games, you want to go with PlayStation. They have the best lineup of exclusive games for established IPs and investing in a lot of new IPs. Also, we've got this amazing new VR experience that's here to stay. That's going to be the future, and I'm excited to see it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Again, this is Christian, who may or may not have a channel in the future. So if you guys would like to see a channel with Christian, let us know down in the comments below to nag him to start making one. And of course, we have Greg from Greggles TV, the ever famous, oh so popular channel that uploads.
I don't know about that.
That uploads videos every single day, and then we have our own weekly podcast all about tech as well every Thursday.
Every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific.
9 p.m. EST. And yeah, so thank you so much, guys. If you guys, as the audience, want to vote to see who either won or which platform you like, look down in the description right below. You will see.
You're starting something awful.
You will.
With that,
I know this is gonna turn into the biggest fight ever.
Yep, this will be just like iOS versus Android. There will be a link down in the description directly at a tweet, which you will have a certain amount of time to vote for whoever you think won. And yeah.
Vote whose beard you guys like better too. If you like something a little lighter or a little something heavier on the beard, let us know.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks so much, and thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I knew you were going to do that. I was waiting for you to do that.